That's not. I don't know if that's playing or not. Is that playing?
Nope. Tune in now to your Two Dad Show. Is that how it
Tune
goes?
in now to that show. I messed up my sound before the show started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. I messed this up. That's
What's wrong with the sound?
I don't know. I don't know what I did. Let me see if it's easy to fix. Nope, not easy to fix. Don't know. Well, anyway, but you can hear me, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. All right. This seems like the appropriate start for this kind of a day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, we're late because I had that emergency happen at like 4 minutes before 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to take care of that emergency.
Not good. And it stinks. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We meet Monday through Friday here on rumble.com/JJW. And we talk about the news, politics, culture, and real life stuff and dad stuff. I think my sales pitch for this show needs a lot of work. I'm not sure that that's selling the show. This is the best time that you are going to have between 8:05 and 9 o'clock every morning. How's that? Is that better?
That works. Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. We got some news to talk about. Don't know if Dave's going to come by. Let me update the picture on rumble.com.
Dave can't come by today.
Oh, okay. Dave can't come by today. I know he's out tomorrow, isn't he? He's got they have changed things over here. What have they done here? He has like a little appointment to check on some stuff, I think on Friday, right?
Today is Friday, JJ.
Oh, that's today. Oh, okay. Well then, folks, sorry, I'm a terrible friend. Folks, I hope that you put Dave in your prayers because he's, it'll help him out. Let's just say that. Okay. Deacon, let's talk about the news. Do you remember yesterday when I said do you remember the topic yesterday's show? RFK Jr. apparently probably had a worm living in his brain and it ate some of it, but there was no evidence whatsoever that it did any damage to his brain, just or to his cognitive function. He had a little foggy mind for a while, but he's completely over that now. The worm did no damage whatsoever. Well, I got a little video clip. We'll see if you agree with him.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. This is a clip. I think this is Miss Steele. I don't know. Here, go ahead.
But so in other words, keeping it as is with Roe versus Wade having been overturned and leaving it up to the states to determine if and when a woman can have an abortion?
No, I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No, I would.
You would say completely. It's up to the woman.
My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have government involved.
Even if it's full term.
Even if it's full term.
Okay.
Oh, he doesn't want to be president. Full term. No, sir. That is not going to work. You're not even going to sell all women on that. Even women are going to be like, what? No. No evidence whatsoever of the, hello, honey. No evidence whatsoever of the worm eating his brain.
Yeah.
Did not expect that when I opened up the news this morning. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Full term abortion should be left up to the mother. That is his campaign platform position. So that's nuts. That's crazy. I don't know. I don't even know what your position on the issue is. I am perfectly happy with states making the decision and the federal government not making the decision.
I'll tell you my position on this.
Okay.
My position is I don't condone killing children of any age. And I am a father of 5, and I have seen sonograms of very early. This is just my personal opinion because of the choices that I have made in my life. At the time, I thought maybe they were bad choices or the incorrect choice. but we as humans go through life in first person mode, correct? We're in a first person
For
shooter
sure.
where
Yeah.
we're first person mode. But what we don't need to realize is that our higher power, God, soul, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes you feel better calling it, is not in first person mode. They're in third person mode, and they have the mini map up on the screen. And they can hit the start button anytime and bring up the map and see exactly where to go. And it tells you, your intuition, God, whatever, it tells you all the time what to do. All right. But you need to realize that this higher power that has the mini map on the screen, they know all of the objectives. They know what they're supposed to be doing in order to complete the game. You don't. You're in first person. So these choices that you think are bad and going to ruin your life, and oh my God, I've got to do something about this particular bad choice that I made.
Oh, okay.
You don't know the whole story.
So you can't. You're not framing this as there are no bad choices. That's not your frame, right? Because they're clearly. I'm not talking about your issue or that one thing.
No, I firmly believe there are no bad choices. There are only choices. Okay? It's your perspective and my perspective that makes it bad or good. Okay? Dependent on the environment and how we've lived and all that whatnot. But there are choices. The choices that I thought 14 years ago were the most terrible choices, the worst choices. Oh my God, my life is over. I don't know what I'm doing. 15 years ago, those ended up being the best choices I could have ever made in my life. And at that time, I would have done anything to stop this particular choice. You see what I'm getting at?
Is today Friday?
We're all dumb. Yeah, it's Friday.
Oh, I honestly, for some reason, thought it was Thursday. Good morning, Ricochet. So let me just say, like, if part of your premise there is that there are no bad choices, I'm not going to agree with that. I can't sign on to that. And because I can immediately come up with probably like 4 scenarios, like off the top of my head, that are grotesque, and I don't want to compare them to your
grotesque. There are some very grotesque choices out there. I'm not saying that. There are some choices that at that moment they are very bad for that individual. But yes, awesome.
Look at that, Deke. I made a good decision on the show.
That's awesome.
I have 1 approval point.
I see exactly where you're getting at, JJ. There are grotesque choices, and there are there are choices that are very bad and traumatizing and upsetting for the person,
harmful to other people.
But to call them bad choices is to see it in first person mode, because that bad choice or that turmoil that the kidnapped girl had to go through, hypothetically, a kidnapped girl, that turmoil that she had to go through makes her who she is. In her lifetime, makes her parents, makes her loved ones. That you see what I mean?
All right, so we have this kind of
third person.
Okay, so we have this conversation sometimes about the consequences of actions in reality, and I think that you are of a particular kind of, and I don't want to describe your position per se,
right?
But I'm only trying to contrast it with my own feeling on this issue. So I think you are of a frame that that good things will come out of even bad things.
Not good things. Not good things, because there's no batting.
Okay. So let's start with the fundamental frame of good and bad.
Okay.
What is good and bad, and who decides what is good and bad?
Good and bad is an invention made by man.
You think so?
Invention made by man.
Okay.
Yes. So however you want to describe good and bad, good for me is different than good for you, and bad for me is bad for you. So how can we we can't be like, this is good and this. We as a society have decided this is bad, this is good. That God gave us laws that we need to follow, and basically said, if you believe that and whatever God and religion you believe in, you got laws and good and bad that kind of describe that. But in the overall whacked out Rudd looking way of looking at this, there are no good and bad choices. There are choices and actions and reactions to those actions. And for something that might be good for you is bad for me.
Okay. I mean, yeah, for sure. Okay, so there is an individual dimension reference. So okay, so I'm kind of thinking of this in 3 dimensions, right? So you have what is good for Rudd. What is good for you? You can make good choices that will benefit or harm you. So you have good and bad for you. Okay. And part of that frame of reference is the people around you, because if people around you are hurting, that's bad for you. And if people around you are getting, benefits, then that is good for you. So you have 2 dimensions there. But there is also an absolute dimension. There is an absolute. I would contend there is an absolute dimension, which is it's not just the overlay of what is good for you and what is good for the people around you, but there is, if you believe in God, God decides this is good, this is bad, and He has told us, murdering people and stealing stuff and lying about your neighbor, that's bad.
That's exactly what I'm saying. What you said, there's stuff that you would interpret that's good for you that might be bad for someone else at that time. A decision that I made 15 years ago, I thought was the worst decision in the world. It had hurt all these different people. Right. But now 15 years later, I can see, hindsight's 2020. Don't question God. When you make a plan, God laughs at you. All those old little sayings that come out of that is, I look back at 15 years now and I'm not stupid. I don't have my blinders on. I look at things like this, and it was smacked across my face one day. And it was like, dude, you called that a mistake for so many years. And because of that mistake, there are 4 people alive. I mean, I get that. And I don't know the repercussions of that.
Right. You don't. You do not. That's true. You don't. In the things that you think, okay. I mean, I can understand. Well, so first of all, I think it's good.
I'm trying to keep an open mind now, and I try to. It gets really hard for me, dude. This is really something that I, as a man, 47-year-old man, has been struggling because I'm a smart ass. I love to bitch about things. I love to be an asshole.
But you also have deep feelings about things, including guilt. Or
absolutely,
remorse or whatnot.
But so I try to keep in my mind, this is an experience. This may be a bad experience at the time. It's very traumatizing, but this is an experience that I have to go through in order to get to the next step. And I don't know where that next step is, and I don't know how I'm going to be in that next step. But I do kind of see where I want to be. So I have to keep a mindset of being positive. And
see, I guess
bad Andy. I'm a Gemini. I have 2 Andys.
Sure. Okay.
There's good Andy and bad Andy, and I always joke bad Andy because that was the dominoes thing.
Okay. Well, listen, I will agree with you on this dimension of it. There are no good people. There are no people that make only good choices, and there are no people that make only bad choices. You're right that people just make choices. There are good and bad consequences. There are harmful and beneficial consequences to the choices that we make. So there isn't a good and bad Andy. There's just an Andy.
And those choices that you make, you might not see the good and bad from it yet, but you may see it one day.
I see. I don't think of it like I'm going to make a bad choice, but it was actually a good choice because good things happened later, even though I made a bad choice. I don't look at it that way. I look at it like this.
That way.
Even I make the best choices we can, do the very best we can. But even when you make a bad choice, when you make a choice as a dire, harmful consequence, that doesn't mean that God can't change the context around that and make something good happen anyway.
Yeah, you don't know your story.
Yeah.
Trying to tell your own story.
So anyway, why does RFK Jr. want to let women kill babies at full term? That's crazy. I don't understand how we got here, but
no, we got there because you asked me for my opinion on the situation.
Right. Did you get to your opinion on that?
Yeah.
Because your opinion is federal regulation, state regulation, no regulation. Where are you at on this?
Unfortunately.
Are you with RFK?
No.
No regulation? Oh, okay.
No. God, no.
Just let women kill babies whenever.
When you study the history, and I've made this joke for decades. This is what I'm going to say about it.
Okay.
When you study history, like take the Aztec Empire, for example,
Okay.
and they had children sacrificed, right?
Yeah,
There's stories of children sacrificed in the Bible. All right. There's all of these children sacrificial stories, and we look to that as a man. Look at that culture. They're beneath us because they sacrificed children. Don't you have that kind of a feeling that, gosh, they must have been a primitive culture because they sacrificed children to their gods, and they thought this. We have turned that into businesses.
Yeah, that's actually worse. Yeah, that's worse. That's worse. What we're doing is worse.
I used to make the joke about that, but it became not funny anymore. That it was
Yeah,
like,
no.
we look to
Yeah, you're
those
right.
societies as primitive because they sacrificed children to the gods. But we not only, in my opinion, we not only sacrifice children, but we have made all kinds of businesses off of sacrifice.
Well, we're not. Look, the reason why I'm definitely not advocating for human sacrifice, but the reason they would have done it in say the Mayan or whatever Aztec, I'm not sure which one it was, is because they thought they were having a drought or whatever. Their resources were being denied them by nature, and they thought if they appease the gods, then they can grow some food and not starve, right? And so, I mean, like they were trying to appease the gods so that they could live, right? And so they weighed the cost of this child versus like our society, and
yeah,
but we're not even doing that. We are not even doing that. We're just like, this is an inconvenience.
And I know we've probably pissed some people off, and I don't care.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to piss
Look,
you
I'm
off.
just, we're just trying to figure out where our ideas are. Yeah.
And me and you don't agree on everything, but we agree on certain things that we very much agree on. That's why we're friends. That's why we started becoming friends in the first place.
Yeah.
Agreed on.
Well, look, it's okay to disagree with people if you're willing to just talk.
Yes, that me and you have that same. We go back and watch some old episodes where me and JJ disagree on stuff, but we don't call each other names and get pissed off. And I'm not going to talk to JJ anymore because he's mean. No, I know my friend JJ.
I've been talking to this guy for 2 years on the show, right? And various different dimensions of topics, and trying to figure out what does he think versus what do I think. I'm not even sure what I think sometimes, but what does he think? And then like hone out like ideas and like, oh, I like this, I don't like that, I agree with this, I don't agree with that. You people don't even talk to someone as much as this. How do you know what you think about anything? All right.
We have gotten to the point now that I know what stories JJ is going to. If I'm scrolling through, I'm like, he's going to get this one, this one, this one, and this one.
Yeah.
And then JJ knows if he sees some wackadoodle story, he's like, oh,
I won't even see them. I'll be like, why are you on thisisrealscience.com? That's not realscience.com. Okay. All right. Here, so let's shift gears a little bit. We're still on politics, though.
Yeah. All right.
Have you heard of a person named Michael Rappaport?
Michael Rappaport. Yes, he was in. I used to not like Michael Rappaport because he was just a dumbass, far left, liberal, crazy.
Yes.
Foaming at the mouth. I hate Trump liberal. He's only been on. He's a funny guy. He's been on several shows that I like, but he was on My Name Is Earl. And he was on My Name Is Earl, and I liked him on there.
He seems like a guy that's got anger, like
a lot of anger. Yeah, like some real anger. Yes, that's a good description.
But he has a sense of humor.
Since then, Michael Rappaport has had some stuff happen to him.
He's having a character arc.
He's having a character arc.
It's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, it is fun to watch. It really has been fun to watch him go from the complete far left to the complete far right.
Right.
And it was because
he's far right. I think honestly,
far right, but he was right.
He was not totally far left. He was very, very left. Very left. It's just that the Overton window shifted right past him, and he found himself like in the middle and was like, what are you people doing over there? He thinks he's
I don't remember what happened to him, but he had something happen to him in his personal life that made him change his point of view. Like
Right.
that was the tipping point. And then everything else that he started, I've watched interviews with him where he talks about how he was brainwashed by where he was and all the people he was around and what they did and trying to impress them and trying to get their
yeah.
approval. And then when they dumped him and he had that personal thing happen, it was just like,
So I'm not
Blinders were
too
taken
down
off.
on all of the details of this. I know that he was repeating, I think the drinking bleach hoax or something like that. He was
Yeah.
repeating some of the TDS hoaxes, and it's not his fault. That's the information he was getting, believed it, repeated it. So he becomes part of the chain of bullish that is out there. Look at me trying to stay
at you.
family friendly.
That's damn good of you.
Oh, okay. Well, wrong. Okay. So he was part of it now, and then he realized, like, hey, wait a second, they were lying to me. Now he still really does not like Trump because you guys, and I say you guys, I mean us, all of us, whatever. You do not make decisions based on information. You do not really make decisions based on pros, cons, facts add up to things. You make decisions based on how you feel about things. And he's already felt so mad and resentful and disdain for Trump for so long. That's all. You work backwards from how you feel into what you think about things. That's how you work as a human.
So you've hit on something that they have tried to hide from the public for years. I mean, it's been out there and people realize it, but not a lot of people realize this. But for voters, for the majority of voters, the majority of them are going to vote with their emotions. They are not going to vote.
Yes.
There are going to be people that vote fact and logic and stuff like that, but the majority vote with their emotions. And our politicians have known this for 200 years. So if you go back and you start looking at things going, okay, we vote with our emotions, and then start watching these speeches and seeing what they say and what it completely step out of your perspective and step over here and then watch everything like you're a fly on the wall. And it really will open your eyes.
You are right. And look, people are persuaded by emotion mostly. And that emotion mostly is fear. If you can get people to fear something, you can get them to move away from it. That's it. That is, and that's more powerful of persuasion.
Themselves. If you can make them fearful of something, they enforce themselves. The freaking monkey banana experiment.
Yes. For if you guys are watching but hadn't seen it before, there was an experiment. They took some apes and put them in a cage, and they put some bananas on the top of the tree. And anytime an ape tried to climb up the tree, they'd hose them down with water or something like that, and it was a punishment. And then one at a time, they start replacing an ape, and they'd hose them down whenever there was. And then the apes started regulating each other.
Every new ape that they would bring in would try to go for the banana. All the other apes would beat the crap out of it.
Yes.
So eventually, after replacing all of the original apes that had been squirted with the water, none of the apes in the enclosure had ever been squirted with the water, but they all knew not to go for that banana. They didn't know why, but they knew not to go for that, or you would get the crap beat out of you from everybody.
Absolutely.
That is exactly what you're talking about, fear, and they'll start governing themselves. The fear is the most... We've been using it for thousands and thousands of years.
This is what I'm saying. You get pushed into a position by emotions, by these messages or whatever, by people surrounding you, inundating you, especially if you're a person that feels things. You get pushed into these positions, then you backtrack and rationalize logic why, this is my value, so I must have this position because these are my values. And you backfill your position that you found yourself in because of how you feel. You backfill it with reasons, and you think that is why you have that position, which is why it's so hard for someone like Michael Rappaport, who realizing that a lot of his information was bogus, he still has the feeling of like, deep resent, deep dislike, deep disdain. Even though you find out the facts are gone, it's so hard for them to change positions when they have a deeply entrenched emotional kind of basis for reasons. So let's go with this story. Check this out, y'all. Michael Rappaport withdraws Biden endorsement after halting Israeli weapons shipment. So I talked about this a couple days ago. Biden and the Biden administration halted shipment of weapons to Israel in attempt to leverage Israel into delaying or not going through with the invasion of Rafah in pursuit of Hamas. Michael Rappaport is on Team Israel. Michael Rappaport is Jewish. Michael Rappaport has gone to Israel and participated in, I've seen him on some sketch comedy show they have over there with like strong language or whatever. But Michael Rappaport is ardently in support of Israel. He doesn't have a position like me where I'm like, can we just not fund anybody and stay out of this and stop causing war? No, Michael Rappaport is for Israel. He wants Israel to exist and he wants terrorists dead and he wants them to be safe because he's Jewish and it's a part of his identity. By withholding the arms shipment and threatening Israel, don't go into Rafah, we're not going to give you guns, it's going to be harder for you. Joe Biden has pushed Michael Rappaport completely off of Team Biden and quote, "This is why voting for Dick Stain Donald Trump, Pig Dick Donald Trump is on the effing table." So
Okay,
this is what I'm saying.
Very colorful words.
People's positions are defined by their feelings. And, he may hate Donald Trump, but he loves Israel. And Joe Biden is actually, the Biden administration is a threat to Israel because we're willing to let them get attacked by Hamas and terrorists. And we don't care. We're not going to send you guns. So isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting that someone with severe...
It's been funny to watching him, flip sides.
I think it's interesting. Anyway, and I don't even really want him on my team. I don't know that I have a team. I mean, I definitely have a not team, and I'm entertained by the show as we head towards the election. Not sure what's going to happen. And I'm concerned that, oh, geez, another Biden administration. How much more in debt can our country go? How much harder is it going to be for my kids to, as they grow up to have anything? I've seen stories. I think I saw a story this morning about Gen Z, like the youngest generation, already in crippling debt. It's going to be, it's so bad.
Yeah. I've got a 19-year-old. 2 that's fixing to turn 16. They ain't all going to get cars.
Right? Yeah.
You see where I work.
Oh, well.
Hey, I got one here for you.
Okay.
Do you know this guy right here?
Oh, yeah. Tucker.
I think his name is Tucker. Tucker has something he wants to say to you.
The numbers you need to understand. Yale University released a study last week by 3 researchers, all of them liberal, I believe, who concluded that the actual number of illegal aliens in this country is not 11 million. It's north of 22 million. 22 million. Fact 1. Fact 2. The Democratic Party is now, as a matter of policy, calling for the legalization of all illegals in this country. Citizenship voting rights. 22 million new voters. Fact 3. The overwhelming majority of first-time immigrant voters vote Democrat. Fact 4. The largest margin in American presidential history was 17 million votes, 1984 election between Mondale and Reagan.
And Reagan, yeah.
17 million. You would add to our voter rolls 22 million, at least, permanent electoral majority in perpetuity. That's what this is about. It's not about making the country better, serving our labor needs, helping the population. It's about putting Democrats in power forever. That is the truth of our immigration debate.
Yeah.
Period.
That is true. That is true. This is about rigging the game so that they win no matter the cost. That's true.
Yeah, there was a story that come up from clerk.house.gov But I posted it and Dave was like, we needed some context, and I was looking for some this morning, but I had a bunch of crap going on. I hadn't, but basically this tweet said that House Democrats just voted unanimously to give illegals representation in Congress and the Electoral College.
Shut up. No way.
And Electoral College votes will be added to areas with the most illegals, including all Biden illegals, unless Senate passes the bill.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, yeah, this thing that came up.
I want to see this. Let me pull this up.
Here, I've got it.
White House. I can't believe this, dude.
Here you go. Yay and nay yesterday, 2 days ago.
Equal Representation Act.
Yeah, Republicans, Democrats.
Yeah, Democrats are on team anybody but America. That's what that is. That's how you interpret that. Anybody but America.
Every single congressional Democrat needs to be voted out of office, in my personal opinion. But what do I know?
So you're right, though. Tucker's right, I guess. This is a matter of platform policy for Democrats. Do you remember this guy?
Let's bring in Democratic political strategist James Carville. You're the father of It's the Economy, stupid.
Yeah. This guy. Well, I'm not going to play the whole clip, but listen to this.
We had completely lost him. I thought he was
you're right.
on the ether.
Chris Cuomo asked, what do you think of Biden's two-pronged pivot on immigration? What took him so long? He's gotten the executive action he's doing. The numbers are in the toilet. Is it too late? Carville answers, I don't think so. I think he listened to these idiot left-wingers when he got into office and got a little bit behind the eight ball here. But there was a piece by Rep. Colin Allred with a Republican businessman that is echoing what President Clinton said. Let these people work. They're here. They're waiting for asylum hearings. They're waiting for this. Let's put them to work. And I think Colin is right. We have these migrants. They're here. They're waiting to figure out what to do to them. But let's get them employed. Let's put them to work. Let's put them to work. So James Carville is advocating for illegal immigrants that are here in the country to have the right to work. You want to turn on a flipping magnet for illegal immigration? You say, well, you're not allowed to come in here, but come on, everybody's allowed to come in here, and you're not allowed to work, but actually, you guys can work here too. You want to see you want to see it go from 22 million north of that? This is how you do it. You literally have the policy of anybody can come here, anybody can work, no big deal.
Here, this was a story that I had that we didn't get to 3 days ago. All right. And this is, it's come back up here. I wanted to share this with you. Panama's new president, Jose Mulino, has promised to put an end to illegal migrants going through the country to cross the United States border. He defeated all the communist and socialist ruling parties in a massive upset. Mulino has pledged to shut down the crossing and deport migrants who break Panamanian law, saying that he will not permit thousands of illegals to pass through our territory like nothing without control. His opponents were actually campaigning to open the path even more to increase the flow of illegals to the U.S. He was originally supposed to be vice president under that guy that I can't pronounce, but the current government sentenced that guy to 10 years for embezzlement and money laundering. So Mulino became presidential candidate after that. Their conservative populist party had 0 seats in the National Assembly, and now they control the presidency. And he says, this guy says, God has visited Panama. Mulino is already talking to president of El Salvador and the president of Argentina about stopping this crap. Wow.
Well, look, if there can be a coalition of South American countries that are willing to put stop. Look, I mean, I can understand in his country, the other side of the politics would be let more people through, because as people pass through, they have to buy supplies and buy stuff, and it's an economic windfall in some regard. So I can understand his opponent, but I mean, this is good. And if there can be an agreement between those countries that really puts a blockade there, I mean, that will be a help. We will have South American countries doing more to protect our country than our own federal government. That would be crazy.
I just want to do one more. Do you have one? Sorry.
It's maybe a segue piece, but go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I just had one more story before we got to some fun stuff.
Go ahead. because mine's political. So go ahead.
Well, mine kind of is too. This one is, I just wanted to bring this up. I saw it on AP News this morning. I thought this is interesting from a historical standpoint, from somebody that likes to like how the Revolutionary War started, for instance. I like to learn about the battles of the wars that we fought in, but I also like to look at all the catalysts that happened before the war. What was happening in the government and in the country before the war started, because that leads up to the war. And you can see little things, little bitty things that do that. And I thought, gosh, this could really be one that they read about in 200 years. These two guys are running for Congress. One of them, Derek Evans, he was a part of the mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol. And the other guy is a former police officer, Harry Dunn, who defended the Capitol that day. So they're both arguing. You hear what I said? They're both arguing on, and they're both running for Congress. And this is kind of a long story. We're not going to get into it because it talks about both men, and I really don't care. But I thought that it was really interesting that now you have somebody running for Congress. This battle for Congress is between somebody that was a rioter and somebody that was a police officer. And one of the things that I saw down here, it said, it's AP News, so of course they add the words to make you to kind of. Oh yeah,
I bet you there's insurrection in there somewhere.
Yeah, this is what this sentence said. On the other side of the metal barricades that day, police officer Harry Dunn couldn't stand what he saw as he defended the Capitol and its inhabitants from rioters on January 6, 2021. Ultimately, the Maryland resident watched as lawmakers he had protected vote to acquit former President Donald Trump and deny the violence and trauma that led to the deaths of some of his fellow officers. And when I read that led to the deaths of some of his fellow officers, there were two giant words that started flashing in my head, giant words. And those giant words were Ashley Babbitt.
Ashley Babbitt is the only person who was killed on January 6th by a federal police officer. The police officers that died that day, or that died as a result, not as a result of this, but in connection to this, one had a brain hemorrhage. I think he was hit with I think he was maybe hit or assaulted with something, and it was accused that caused his death. But the coroner said, no, it wasn't that. That was just a coincidence. But he just had and then I think one or two others may have committed suicide. But again, I don't know that that's related to this. I
don't know.
People just
it's brainwashing words.
So no, AP News lied right there, misrepresented the facts. No police officer died because of January 6th. No police officer died because of January 6th. AP News lied right there. Surprise. Morning, Brian. I see you on Rumble, sir. Thank you for hanging out and hanging out with us. Okay, so I guess still on politics here. Do you know Karine Jean-Pierre?
Is that woman that starred in what was that? Was it Star Trek Discovery, or was that?
No. I know who you're talking about. No. This is a different person. Karine Jean-Pierre happens to be the blackest, gayest, lesbianist press secretary that we've ever had.
Oh, KJP.
Yeah. KJP, yes, sir.
We're close. I didn't know her name was.
She attended a DC gay bar with 8 drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars recently. Isn't that fun for her? Look at that. I mean, the group was in DC promoting this new season of the show. This is the spokesperson for the White House, the spokesperson for the most powerful country in the world, and this is her. This is her agenda. This is her, this is what this administration believes. I hope that represents all of you as well.
So let me tell you a little story.
Sure.
There was these cities one time that were very similar to America. In my opinion, I think as a historian, I'm assuming that they were very similar to how America is now. And there was this angel that came down to this guy named Lot, and he said, "Can you find 10 righteous people?" And he could not find 10 righteous people in that whole anywhere. So I'm thinking that we're down to about 11. We're dwindling.
It's not good. It's well, look, hey, if you like RuPaul's Drag Show, good for you. I'm not telling you can't watch it.
Whatever.
I am telling you, Amazon needs to keep that ish off of my TV though, because when it comes around June, there's gay banners all over the TV. I can't even keep them away from my kids. So sometimes for the whole month of June, I'm just like, you can't watch TV. You can't watch TV.
All right, so I'm going to throw some. So you might not be able to watch TV this weekend or anymore at all, JJ, because this is serious. Some coronal mass ejections. I know that sounds dirty.
Provocative.
This corona. The sun has shot superheated plasma all over the world. So the sun has yesterday I was watching a bunch of stuff on this, a bunch of my nerd dudes that I watch, and they were saying, oh crap, the sun spit out these coronal mass ejections. They're pretty huge. There's like 4 of them. They're coming to Earth. They should hit today, tonight, tomorrow, this weekend. You shouldn't in Texas, but if you are like above the Alabama line and up, actually I can show you here. If you see this right here, that circle, you should be able to see what kind of like the aurora borealis in the sky if you get away from light pollution, because these mass ejections are huge. They have the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, has actually issued a severe geothermal solar storm warning. They say that this could potentially damage GPS, all kinds of stuff. Hang on, I was trying to find where it talks.
I thought we had a little video here, a demonstration.
It's probably going to show you what a solar flare. It says that NOAA warns of a wide area blackout of high frequency video or high frequency radio communications for hours. The geomagnetic storm could also cause widespread voltage irregularities in power systems that may trigger false alarms on security devices. It may cause drag on low Earth orbit satellites, preventing them from orienting and causing range errors and loss of lock for GPS systems. So if you rely on your GPS and you're going to rely on the weekend, it could mess up because of this. The Earth is surrounded by the magnetosphere, correct? It's going up and down on the Earth.
Yep.
It surrounds it. This storm is going to hit that and push it. Basically, it's going to mess with that. And it's going to mess with other things that rely on that. You may even see animals acting strange, because we know that like homing pigeons and whatnot, they rely on magnetic fields in their freaking brain. So it very well may affect animals and stuff. We haven't had one like this. I think the last big warning they had was they said like 20 years ago or something. But then in 1859, the Great Carrington event was regarded as the Earth's greatest solar storm in recent history, covered nearly the entire planet in aurora. About 14,000 years ago, a solar flare, possibly hundreds of times stronger than the Carrington event, impacted Earth. The Carrington event is very interesting if you look it up, because there were some places that just the buildings caught fire. Like it was setting fire to
wow. Seriously.
It's very Carrington event with a C. If you want to research it, it's very interesting on some of the stuff that they reported. But go out in the morning. If you're out late at night, 3, 4, 5 a.m. in the morning, try to find somewhere in the morning with no light pollution. And living where you live, it's probably impossible.
Oh yeah, it's not. You won't be able to see it from most of Texas.
Yeah. But you should be able to see maybe some aurora borealis type or aurora type.
Yeah.
In the sky.
That's super cool, to be honest.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if you are experiencing internet troubles this weekend, something happened. That's
Right.
that very well could
Also,
be.
if the atmosphere gets pushed off a little bit, and you might get a little bit of cancer. So
Yeah, you might. I mean, a little bit of cancer don't hurt. No, I'm just. That's. I was trying to make a joke, and that went off.
no,
bad,
it's terrible.
especially today.
Okay.
Yeah, bad.
All
All
right,
right, I got
now,
one
you
more, and I'm going to send this one out to our viewer Jowie. Jowie is he's been my buddy for a long time. He's not the smartest. He's not the brightest crayon in the box sometimes because
What?
he owns an iPhone. And that's like one of his only flaws, really, that he is an iPhone user. I know it's gross. He sits in the chair and I'm like, hang on, let me put a towel down or something. I don't want you to.
Ew.
He makes fun of me because I'm a Samsung user. But look, did you see iPhone's new commercial for their iPad?
Oh no, I didn't. Of course not. What is this? What's going?
This was their commercial for the iPad, their new iPad Pro or whatever it was, and it basically showed a hydraulic press crushing all of these creative things: record player, guitar, drums, paint set, all kinds of stuff that you can see in there, television, sports equipment, all kinds of stuff in there, and it crushes it. And man, did that piss off some people. Wow. The ad, which was released Tuesday, shows all of that, crushing all this stuff, and resulting from the destruction is a pristine new iPad Pro. The most powerful iPad ever is also the thinnest, the narrator says at the end of the commercial. But they're saying that they had really disturbing reactions to the ad. I understood the conceptuality, what they were trying to do, but I think it came across as here's technology crushing the life out of every freaking thing that we enjoy. So way to go, iPad, on destroying. Actually, they didn't do it, but this was just a failed marketing attempt. This was somebody that had that thought they had a really good idea. Hey, why don't we get Dylan Mulvaney to promote our Bud Light? This is exactly what this was.
Wow. Do you like art and music and stuff? Well, how about an app instead?
Hey, Alex has got an iPad. And he's got this art program on there that I've been using, and it's freaking awesome as crap. But I like drawing with ink pens and colored pencils and lead pencils, and you will never take away that ability to shade and do that. Yeah, it's really cool, and I can do a lot of really cool stuff on that iPad that I couldn't do before. But I love just as much picking up this freaking ballpoint pen right here and sketching a freaking rose or an eyeball or a freaking bird or something.
I mean, look, you can do impressive things or whatever, but like you can't do any more impressive things than AI can probably do right now. AI can do it. Oh, you're going to draw on an iPad. That's cool. Hey, iPad, give me a picture of this. Bloop. Look, I did too. I actually heard that I don't really pay a lot of attention to Apple, like at all.
I don't either, really.
But I think that they have fallen so far behind in the AI stuff. Like they don't have a compelling AI product. And when has an Apple launch product been an innovation? How long has it been since Apple brought a new product to market?
Story that I read actually like a month ago was that they were complaining that Apple doesn't do anything but release the same thing over and over again.
It's newer and better.
It's new, and we added a new
stuff you guys been doing for a long time.
They
had Siri.
They've made it appear. Yeah, they had Siri, but I've got the Bixby or whatever, and it sucks. But they've made it appear that Samsung phones can't do everything that an iPhone does, and this freaking thing does. I have had 3 Samsung phones in the span of my children having like 8 freaking iPhones. I'm not even lying.
Yeah, I think I've had this phone since like 2019. And I'm gonna get a new phone, but like it just keeps coming up. I'm like, I actually got other stuff to do.
Yeah, the only reason I had 3 new phones in that time period, I'm telling you, and you will laugh as soon as I say this. The only reason I updated my phones when I could, Marvel's Contest of Champions.
Oh yes, it ran like dog on.
That was the main thing for picking up this phone.
And you have an S23, right? You have an S23.
Yeah, whatever the last one was. I've got the little.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think the S23 gets the AI update from the S24. So the S24, they had a launch. I don't know, 2-3 months ago, and a lot of the features on the S24 are that it's basically got a bunch of AI stuff built in, and they are backporting that to the 23. So if you haven't already, you update your iPhone. Your iPhone's going to have like AI built in. And here's my point on this. For years, Apple was leading the market with not only iPhone, but having Siri on your phone. You had a digital assistant, do this for me, do that for me, whatever. But this is 2024, and you guys got Chat GPT and all kinds of AI things that are really smart, and they make Siri look like a special needs student.
Jeeves.
Right.
Serious Ask Jeeves.
Yeah. So literally Apple went from front of market to they don't have an AI solution. They don't have anything. So it's not good. It's not good for Apple.
So when I went in to get this phone, this reminded me when I went in to get this phone a couple years ago or whatnot. It's probably been longer than that. It's probably been like 3 years now. I remember going in there and was talking to the guy, and he was like, "What kind of phone are you looking for?" And Ashley said something about he plays this game and he wants the phone to run the game good. And he was like, "Oh, what game do you play?" And I was like, "Marvel Contest of Champions." And he was like, "Oh, I play that game, blah, blah, blah." And he got out his phone and he was showing me his character. He had like level 40 or something. So I pulled out my phone. I was showing him my super duper huge character.
Yeah,
and
at the
I was
time,
like,
for sure.
Yeah, at the time. And I was like, dude, I was like, yeah, I said, we've got a little podcast that we've been doing for a while or whatnot, you know. And at the time, for those out there that don't know, at the time we had it wasn't a little podcast. It was a pretty big podcast for that game. You know, we had a lot of listeners that listen. And so we were kind of well known. You know, we were known in that community for a little bit.
Yeah.
We got stuff in the game. We designed, you know, we got stuff in the game for our podcast. We got sent to New York by Marvel, you know, to play in a tournament for the game. So we were kind of well known. And so he was like, "Oh, what is it?" And I was like, "Oh, you know, the unofficial Marvel Contest of Champions podcast." And he was like, "Oh, I've never heard of that." And I was like, "Ew." My freaking balloon was like,
yeah. Yeah. So we only ever had like maybe 4% of the audience of the game ever listen to the show, really. Anyway, which is fine.
40% of the audience, you said, JJ?
No, not 40.
All right, music, real quick. I had one music story I wanted to pull up. This was sad. Pet Sounds, the Beach Boys album Pet Sounds is one of the greatest produced albums.
I think I messed you up, maybe. No? Oh, good. Okay, there you go.
Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. Absolutely unbelievably produced. Brian Wilson, who is right here, is just a musical genius, whether you believe in some of his other crap or not. They've had to get him a conservatorship because he has major neurocognitive disorder. So they've had to get a conservatorship to manage his personal and medical decisions because he's getting old. He's up there, but Brian Wilson was a musical just genius. He had one of those very rare ears that not very many people have. So your song of the day, we've been doing the top 40 hits, the top 40 singles for the week ending in May the 6th, 1995. 29 years ago, JJ. I'm going to make you feel old today. All right. So the number 2 hit, you might not remember number 2, Freak Like Me by Adina Howard. Do you remember that song? That was a big hit. And if you watch the video on our Discord server, you'll immediately be like, "Oh, yes, a freak." And then the number 1 song this week, 29 years ago, I went this morning to get coffee at the convenience store, and the older woman that was unloading boxes behind me, I always say hello to her. She had music playing in her pocket as I was getting my coffee, and all of a sudden, very loud in the freaking Casey's General Store was, "This is how we do it." And I turned around and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." And I walked over there and I was like, "I want you to know that I haven't heard that song in like 20 years, but I heard you because I listened to it this morning when I knew this was number 1. So Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It, 29 years ago. You, my friend, watching the show right now, are really old.
This is how we do it. I remember that on the radio.
This is how we
All right.
do it.
All right. It's time for jokes. It's time for jokes. At the end of the show, we tell a hilarious joke.
Hilarious.
It's so funny you can't even laugh.
You might pee.
I think I already did that one. Actually, I should have marked it. Do you know what happens when doctors get mad?
No, what happens when doctors get mad, JJ?
They lose their patience.
Ooh, boo.
Yeah. Oh, I can't boo. I can't
Yeah, you
boo.
can't
My
boo.
buttons don't work.
This is just do you know that I've been trying to say for a long time on the show, I guess, is that we've constantly been lied to, especially in education. You know, they constantly lie to you. And for example, I don't believe in I before E except after C. You know,
Okay.
I used to teach you that I before E except after C. You know, it's been disproven by science. I say it's been disproven by science. SSCIENCE. SCIEN.
Ha 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 ha.
Thank you. I'll get you a drink later.
Yeehaw!
God, that was loud.
I'm sorry. That went this way.
Don't do it again. All right.
All right.
We'll get things fixed by Monday.
Hey, I bet you this isn't going to work right, but we'll try it anyways. Bye, everybody.
Politicians and talking heads lying
Yay!
left and right. You can help us bring facts into the light. Don't let your daughter lose her next swim meet to a psychopath dude with fake teeth.
That's
Tune in
amazing.
now to